So we're going big scale today. We're going to do an abstract design. So I've got a couple of different abstract designs here. Well, they're completely different actually, so it just goes to show there's no right or wrong with this. This one has, it had like a stained background with a blend of different colours, and then the pen work was put on the top, so it was like the shape was found within the abstract shape, whereas this is much more planned and premeditated. So this is more the sort of thing that I'm going to show you, but that doesn't mean to say you can't have elements of these within it, because that one's like a bit more landscapey but still quite abstract. So what I've done first is I've just penciled out my outlines very, very lightly. So I've got like a bit of a plan. So I've got overlapping and underlapping strips. It's good to have some larger shapes and then some smaller shapes. I haven't added in all the smaller shapes yet because I kind of keep those smaller details for last, but it's really important compositionally to have large and small shapes. Second thing you need to think about in terms of your composition, your layout, is the rule of thirds. So if you break the picture down into third lines going down that side and then third lines going across, having kind of interesting like focal points really on those lines works really well, rather than having something bang in the middle. But with this, everything kind of flows across the page, so it makes your eye flow across and it leaves the eye around, so there's kind of a good layout on there. Right, then once you've got a bit of a layout very lightly drawn, because you don't want to press heavy with this because you will see the pencil marks through, then you can do your background. So you might want to do the bubble technique. So I think we've all done that. I'm not sure if you've done that, so I can show you that on a one-to-one basis. You might also want to do spraying with water. That's not got much in it. Use that one. And then you can put brush over in some areas. That's much better. And you could also do drips, and we've got some straws as well to blow the drips and control them. The brush, remember, it stains your hands. It's very strong. So you could get some different kind of abstract designs in the background, and they are going to just be in the background. So even if there's bits that you're not happy with on those, you can paint over the top. Once you've got your background in with your drips, your bubbles, maybe a little bit of brusho, you can also do some spray effects in the background as well. If you are going to do spray, I recommend to not just do one colour but to overlap different colours.
Could I just ask, are you having any regard to your design underneath?
Not too much really, no. I'm trying to do it quite free and letting go of control a little bit. But actually this is an important consideration. I am thinking about the colour scheme. So I'm not just throwing in random colours. Okay. If you want to leave some areas white, and you definitely want them to stay white, so if we look at here, there's some white bits in the background, then of course you can use your masking fluid. So you could, and you're welcome to use mine, you could put, bits in where you want them to stay white. Once that's done, you need to hair dry it. And then you're going to build all of your shapes on top. Now for this part, I would recommend using your mixing palette. Do not use the colours as they are, mix your own. So I might mix up about 5 different shades of, pull that in there, 5 different shades of blue, and I might have, a greeny blue, I might have a purpley blue, I might mix the blue in with a bit of the Quink ink, which is a special type of black ink used with a Parker pen that changes colour. It looks black, but it's got so many different colours within it. It's amazing. And I'm going to have all my pre-mixed colours on there. And some might be just a little bit diluted just with water as well. So it doesn't have to be that they're always mixed with something else, but they might just be mixed with water and so on and so forth. Once you've mixed all your different tones in there, then you can start to paint them on. However, what I would say to avoid, what I don't really want to see if possible, is, let's say you're painting this leaf shape, what you've got to think is about the actual brush strokes. So you don't want to see kind of like loads of lines, because it will dry like that and you'll see all the individual brush strokes. So it's better if you can try and make it smoother where possible by getting a good coverage of the ink, so you don't actually see the individual brush lines, if you see what I mean. And it's nicer if you can actually vary the tone on each leaf, so it's not just one shade, like that's a shade of green. It might have some bluey bits, it might have some purpley bits, and so it's a little bit more interesting like that as well. Now with watercolours, you always have to do your lightest colours first. You don't have to do that so much with inks, but if you are doing darker colours first and then you're going into a lighter colour, make sure you're washing your brush thoroughly, otherwise they really do kind of filter into one another. And the other thing is, another consideration is consider the brush size and style that you're using. So I've actually just used quite a flat brush there, but for the little points on the edges, I would suggest, I mean, I know that's too big, but I would suggest a pointier brush for a pointy edge, and then different sizes of brush for the different sizes of shapes. And then as a finishing touch today, I've also got, as a special little treat, some, yes, gold, silver and copper leaf. So you've got a bit of a choice. So again, think about your colour combination. Oh, it's fine, it just flakes everywhere. Think about your colour combinations, and you can just literally, it works well on dark colours because it's so light and bright, it captures the light. If you put this on a light colour, it's not going to stand out as much. So for example, if I were to put this on the light blue over there, you just put a little bit of glue down, and then I just find it's really nice when you tap it on, and thinking about breaking it up a bit as well so it looks a bit more natural. It shouldn't really be stuck up too much in the air. It should be all quite flat. If they're stuck up in the air, they're going to fall off. So make sure that you've, you know, smoothed it down and that it's not risen. So now that's smoothed down, that looks a lot better, but it doesn't stand out. Whereas if I was to do that, this might be a little bit wet, but I'll try it for the purposes of demonstration on this green bit here, because that's the driest bit. That's going to stand out a lot more on there than it does in that blue area there. Now, with the silver and gold and copper leaf, it's so pretty and it's so fun and it's such a nice treat to work with because it is quite expensive. It's easy to get carried away, and so just use it as a gentle little accent. This one has quite a lot of gold in it. That's not actually gold leaf, I think it's metallic gold ink, but you can overdo it is what I'm trying to say. So just, you know, a few gentle bits in places. I think that's pretty much everything. Yeah, any questions?
I was thinking of maybe doing more like the abstract landscape sort of idea, and then sort of building up layers. Quite interested there that they've completely use masking tape for big sections.
Do you know what? I think that's not masking fluid. I think that's just left blank.
Yeah.
But this here, you can really see that that's been really wetted, the paper, and then the ink's been put on, and the ink's kind of gone in, like it's started to bleed into the water. So that wet on wet technique's really, really good. But there is a bit of fine pen work over the top there, which I think really sets it off. And then they've obviously done a strip of blue there, a strip of green, maybe a little bit of water in between, and they've bled into one another, so you get this gradual blend, which is really, really nice. But again, it's a coherent, consistent colour scheme because you've got blue, green and yellow, and that's pretty much all you've got on there. But you've got them in so many different tones. That is what keeps it visually interesting. And then you've got really organic curves and shapes you know, and they're thinking about kind of horizon lines. They're thinking about the rule of thirds, because that's pretty much 2/3 of the way up. So it's really, really effective, I think, that one.
Yeah, lovely.
Okay,
Yeah.
fab.